to my short video series for YouTube about fashion. So I'm going to answer the most commonly asked questions on Google about fashion and hope this will be helpful to you. So one of the questions is, how does fashion affect our life? Well, fashion is very intimately related to what's happening in the world around us. If you study fashion history, you can see definitely a relation between what people wear and what was happening at the time. The so-called zeitgeist, the spirit of the time, is usually captured very well for fashion. So if you want to know if people were a bit more loose, or you can see like the 60s, where people were very free-minded, very free-spirited. And then you have all these colors, all these flowers, the flower power movement. Of course, there was a lot of music and drugs going on as well. So it was a very interesting era where people really went against the restrictions of the 50s and the way things were at the time, to really make up their own rules. Usually the new generation always questions what is there for them and come up with something that is a bit more meaningful. So we can see that, for instance, when I was growing up, it was all about having fun. We didn't really worry about job security because our parents had a job for life. So it was out of social media, so we were really having fun without any fears of being targeted, or of later on those photos being held against us on a job application, for instance. Like, the new generation is much more self-conscious about those issues, and they're very aware that there is not such thing as a job for life. So they're much more mature. They don't really have the same hedonistic approach that my generation had, for instance. So fashion does reflect, like, from the roaring 20s. There is a fantastic exhibition at the National Portrait Gallery. So when things start to open again, if you're in London or if you're visiting London in the near future, you can go and visit. So there you can definitely see a liaison between what people wear and the spirit at the time, which was also very hedonistic, very playful. People were very they just came out of First World War, so they really wanted to enjoy life to the full, because there was a lot of uncertainty going on at the time. So it was all about making the most of whatever you have and enjoy yourself as much as possible. So yes, fashion does affect our life. I mean, in my live session about organizing a wardrobe, I did go through the colors and the meaning of colors and how they affect our mood. Maybe that's something you would like to revisit. But basically, what we wear does affect our mood and the way others perceive us as well. And it's also a way of expressing ourselves, for those of us who enjoy it. Some people feel more comfortable in a uniform without having to think too much about what they wear, while for others that's very restrictive. For instance, when I worked in luxury retail, that was for me one of the hardest things, that I could not choose what to wear, and I had to wear a black suit every day and very discreet makeup. So basically, for me, it was hard because I love playing with clothes. I love dressing different colors, or, well, today I'm wearing black, but colors do have an impact in our mood as well. Is fashion an art? No. Some designers do have that approach, but for me personally, fashion is meant to be functional. You do need to take into account the body, the human body. So there's a functionality inherent to fashion that you don't have in art. Art is purely an expression, a gut feeling, an expression of what's happening in the world, but it can take any form. As we can see, especially now in modern art, it's not just oil painting or aquarelle. It could be anything really, as long as you're expressing something that reflects the zeitgeist. Well, in fashion, there's a lot of creativity, and you can play with volumes and textures, and now a lot of technology can be built into your clothes, and I think that's something that's underdeveloped right now, but it will be more and more prominent probably in the future. But basically, no, fashion is not an art. I don't think so. Artists have a different place in the world, even though it's also a form of expression, but I wouldn't call it an art.